You're watching the Rebel Scum podcast.
You are always scum. Rebel Scum.
From odds making to list rankings, we've got you covered. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
Also, you guys should check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Rebel Scum podcast. We got lots of cool shows, cool spunky things going on. Andrew just sent his audio for this month's Goodwill Hunting, and I believe it is on the final order of SheVP Palpatine. So,
oh, cool. It sounds boring.
he loves his SheVP. He did one on Palpatine. From the perspective,
what a surprise!
But he did it on the. Well, I asked him to on the perspective, like he did it from the point of view of of the Emperor, like so he's a good guy in his Good Will Hunting on it. So he's very pleasant. We have a question from Gleek Play One. Our good friend Gleek Play sends this over. High Republic movie and/or saga. This is what they want to talk about because we talked about this on episode 150. Brock, totally fine with some Sith action. But I'm at a point where I need to care about the idea of the Republic again. I hope the big bad is an outside invasion force, so the Galaxy and Republic are on the same side in the fight. I don't think yet another Civil War would do much for me story-wise.
Is that for the next trilogy or next?
Yeah, or the next movie or saga or whatever.
Call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see the good guys thrive for a second, like.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't read a ton of it, but like what they were doing in the latter years of the Dark Horse Star Wars universe with the Yuuzhan Vong, that seemed pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And it felt slightly different, I think, but they're still invading. I think it was just that if it was different and like they don't feel like a tyrant regime, they just seem like, ooh, they look like weird elves or something. I don't know how to properly describe them, but that was interesting. So I don't know. Here's the problem too. You kind of have to build up a new storyline, I think, because it's like you can throw us in the action if you have your main characters already figured out. And I know, yes, Star Wars, we kind of New Hope, it kind of does that already. No, we learn our characters as we go. You know what I mean? So like the first movie is going to be about that. You know what? I think what would be satisfying is we start this next movie where it's like there have been 50 years of resistance, Republic. Peace or something like that. So you're like, yeah, okay, cool. They finally won one for once. But yeah, I
don't think we need Galactic Civil War anymore. I think we're over that. I was kind of thinking we were going to be over that when we hit episode 7. Like, what's the next chapter in these stories? But they went right back to that. And then look, I think that's a one plus for Palpatine coming back is it kind of you're like, okay, I understand now why it's the same plot because it's the same villain. Gotcha. But I think I think move past Galactic Civil War, move into something.
Yeah.
I don't want to say bigger. I said this last week. I want something a little bit more intimate still, but have a threat from somewhere else, someone come in like that, or have Jedi versus Sith. Just there is no conflict with the Republic. It's something smaller, something deeper. And the Jedi have to uncover some kind of mysterious plot brought about by the Sith, who they thought were extinguished, 600 years before this because, like I said, the Phantom Menace, I believe they mentioned the Sith haven't been around for 1,000 years or something like that. But if you could find a way to have a mysterious figure roaming around, the Jedi try and track down the Sith, and maybe the Sith ends up victorious, Brock.
Maybe. I could see something like if we're gonna do something with Jedi and Sith, you kind of have to reinvent what they are. So like maybe it's like 50, 60 years in the future, the Jedi Order has been reestablished, but even though it has its place in the galaxy, it's not really revered anymore because they're like, well, look at the mess you guys started So it's like, maybe they're just like there as, thank you for your service, but we're not going to let you affect the galaxy this much. And then, so like our character is maybe a Jedi, but like they're not, he's maybe a bumbling oaf or something like that. And then we join him as this everyman he stumbles into some kind of intrigue, some new thing that's coming. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Well, what if this predates the prequels, obviously? So let's say this is the beginnings of the Jedi Order.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. High Republic.
Yeah, it's High Republic. So let's say there are Jedi, but the Jedi have kind of...
the future.
But the Jedi aren't generals yet, right? Like, they're just kind of... They're keepers of the peace, but maybe this is before they're keepers of the peace, and they're just like Robin Hood and his merry men at this point. They're just like, we're going to help out, but we're not associated with anybody. And this is kind of the story of them becoming associated with the Republic.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I am with you. Like, they have to change things up. But you know what? We haven't seen Jedi and Sith in action since the prequels. And even then, we only got one Sith at a time.
Yeah.
Well, except for Revenge, where we got two. But even then, it's not, Anakin's still the blue. We've never seen more than one lightsaber, more than one red lightsaber at a time, basically. Right? It'd be cool to see that, but then you got to go to Old Republic to give us that. Otherwise, your continuity is broken. Unless it's a creature in the shadows who kills our hero Jedi at the end of the first. Yes, slices him out. And then he's like, my name is Darth Sidious. I don't know. You think we could see some... did we talk Plagueis? Yeah, we talked Plagueis. You think Plagueis can show up in these High Republic era stories? If this is what we're getting. This announcement's coming. This announcement's definitely happening while in between recording this and...
Yeah, for sure.
It's 100% happening.
It's... Maybe, like, we kind of take on... I know I'm going to say it on a Star Wars podcast. Like a Star Trek sort of storyline. So, if we're in the past, I don't know how far into the past... But enough that, like, it doesn't really directly affect what happens in our new saga. Maybe it's, like, the Jedi are sent out as explorers, right? So, like, maybe the concept is bringing society to, or, like, star travel to planets that don't have it yet, which is usually, like, typically a bad thing, You don't want to affect the evolution of a different society or whatever. So that's why I say Star Trek, because it just reminds me of, like, we're going there to explore, and we're not going to affect them if we can't or we don't have to. And then maybe that the end of that movie is like, this is why they don't do that. But maybe that could work. That'd be kind of interesting. It's like, I don't know if that works exactly in that. Like, it'd be interesting to be like, oh, this is the first time that a Rhodian sees a starship for the first time, and they're like, oh, okay, that's how it works. But yeah, I think, like, it has to have an archaic feel to it, even though it's in a series that does light speed and has, going to space is like a daily thing for them.
I think it's going to be archaic. I think they say that in the Making Star Wars story. I think he says that. He's like, it's going to have that old feel to it, the lived-in feel. See, for me, I want to go... If you're going to go 400 years, give me the glossiness of the prequels. Give me that. I like the idea that there's a period of time when the galaxy was bright and beautiful and vibrant, except for Tatooine. It was bright and beautiful and all that. And then the Imperial reign kind of destroys that and makes it all cruddy and lived in.
Like, it'd be cool if they're like Coruscant and it's not like a huge city planet yet.
Wouldn't it be cool if they do a movie in the future and it goes back to Coruscant, and Coruscant is like Toronto, where it's like all old archetypes, texture, and then there's like new buildings sprinkled everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I would love. I would love that.
Like Coruscant in big bright letters beside a water fountain at City Hall.
That turns into a skating rink in the winter. Absolutely, they should do that. I would be down for it. How many Sith do you think it's? How involved are Jedi and Sith going to be? How involved would you like to see Jedi and Sith be in this new series?
I want them to sort of still be on the fringes in a sense, like, and to the fact that like, I think the Sith always have this going for them, where you don't know when they're gonna show up, sort of thing, or what they're doing is always hidden in the background. So yeah, here somewhat like in the shadows, hidden in the background, something like that. I feel like that's always a Sith storyline, but I don't know. Is that worth it? You know what I will say about this Into the Past and High Republic? You just could do anything, right? Like, I kind of don't want Yoda to be present, though it will be confusing if he doesn't. I don't know.
I think he has to be every 400 years.
Yeah, but like definitely no Coruscant, so they put them somewhere else. I think in the Xbox Night of the Old Republic, they were on like Dantooine, and that has no bearing on this movie because they don't have to do it. But I remember like, oh, that's Dantooine. She mentioned in the first A New Hope. This is cool. But yeah, I don't know, because like. I think at the end of the day, the storylines are always going to feel the same. Some unknown problem that's going to have some kind of catastrophic. Doesn't. I don't know if it has to be catastrophic effects. Like I don't think they need to like blow up a planet or something like that.
I hope not. I hope we're past all that or before all that. But I just said this a little while ago. I just want a smaller scale story.
Yeah. With
cool effects,
You spent like so long with Darth Sidious' plan of like just killing everyone and basically becoming death and what have you. Like, let's get a new Sith philosophy that's like, we're dark side users and this is what we want to do. So like maybe it's just more Sith, right? Maybe that would be fun. So if we have this Order of the Jedi, let's have one of the Jedi go to the Sith side. That was a big reveal with like Darth Revan and Darth Malak and that whole storyline. Like Darth Revan was a Jedi, or you are Darth Revan the whole time, and you're supposed to be the good guy in the game.
Wouldn't it be awesome if it was a female villain, like a female Sith?
Yeah, and they kind of did that with Darth. Someone somewhere going like Darth Treya, which was, I believe, a character. But yeah, no, I'm down for everything. That's why it's one of the things you kind of like about the prequels when you get to see all the Jedi and all the different kinds. And you're like, oh, look at that guy. He looks like an ox. Oh, look at that guy. He looks like an octopus.
I hope they bring us some familiar aliens again, though. I don't get me wrong. I think it's important to introduce new aliens to the saga.
Yeah,
but give us what we know. Like, why? Where are the Rhodians in the sequel trilogy? Where are these aliens in the sequel trilogy? Why are they completely banished from anything at that point? I don't like. Eventually, you get an Ewok at the end. Akbar, sure, and Nien Nunb, who apparently died. Nien Nunb is dead.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Just the weirdest... It's so weird to me. They're like, oh, yeah, he died on a... Why? Like, I don't... whatever.
Just like reasons.
I know, like, okay, if you're not going to give somebody an emotional death, that you've made a point to put in these 3 movies... or I mean 4 in total now, right? Or yeah, 4. Like don't just be like, and like don't let the author of the novelization be like, yeah, he died, by the way. Like, okay, I mean if it's in the book, it's in the book, but the book's not out until the end of March, so why come out with that now?
Yeah,
it's so weird to me.
Like, surprise us. Like, what is there's? I love just seeing when I look up news for Holo News, and it's like, this is what we could do to fix Star Wars. I'm like, do we need it? Does it need fixing? It's made the money it needs to make.
Well, I'll tell you,
enough money in that comparison, but like,
I'm on a complete Forbes.com boycott.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.